Hi, everyone.
I was just jamming that time. That's why I was doing a dance, and that was my hope that it would signal for you to start us off.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Tim and April Show. I am Tim Whitaker.
I am April LaJoy.
Welcome into the live stream. We go live every Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern. Of course, as you would expect, we have a packed show today. We're talking about Iran and the so-called ceasefire deal that never was. We're talking about what happened in New York City, with a brand new Democratic candidate running for mayor. We're going to talk about Zohran Mamdani and what that means. We're talking about end times theology because so many white evangelicals are just ecstatic that there's a potential for all-out war to break out in the Middle East. So welcome in. Please give the video a like. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any future episodes. Hi, April. It's good to see you.
It is good to see you too. How art thou on this very hot summer day?
Yeah, that's the problem. I'm hot as hell. I don't handle heat well. I'm pretty, and also, everyone who listens to the show knows this. I drink pretty much only coffee, and it kind of caught up with me yesterday. I think I was ultra dehydrated, so I got really sick. I had like muscle pains and aches, and I just wasn't feeling myself. So I'm trying to hydrate more. Yeah, I'm not even drinking blueberry coffee right now. I'm drinking water with some like hydrating lemonade mix-in stuff. So
maybe this will be a little blessing in disguise, you know, get you hydrated. Maybe your body just needed it. And it was a way of saying, hey, get me water, please.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It is summer, and this week was my oldest daughter's 9th birthday. So we threw this big party for her over the weekend where there were a bunch of screaming, almost 4th graders in our house. But she wanted to do a movie party, so watch a movie. But then Beecher, who's a filmmaker, was like, what if we make a movie too? So her and all her friends, they filmed like this whodunit, and all of the party guests were suspects, and they asked questions. And so while they watched the actual movie, which was the new live action Snow White, Beecher edited the film, and then at the end, they all got to watch their own little quick 6-minute movie that they made.
Why is Beecher like the best person ever?
They really are. I mean,
is the person who made you your own Guess Who with all of your different iterations of like your different characters. I mean, it's amazing. They're wonderful.
Yeah, no, it was fun. We were very tired by the end of it, though. I didn't realize how loud 9 and 10-year-old girls could be when packed into a house.
yeah, exactly.
Very loud. Took us a couple days to recover. We were pretty tired, but it was a lot of fun.
I love that. Well, I mean, you want to just kind of get into it? Oh, actually, before we do, let me just say, friends, if you're watching, we have new merch that we dropped maybe a few weeks ago now. We have this shirt. It says, I commit sins to empathy. And we plastered it on mugs. We plastered it on, for those of you who still want to spend time with the Lord in the morning and you want a journal, you can have it on a moleskin journal. And we have some other designs too in our merch store. So the link is in the show notes or the description. It's the first link. All, of course, purchases go to supporting this work, making this show possible, and making the work at TNE possible. I gotta say, I'm reading some of the comments here, and I'm seeing people say that they're ready for some TNA. I don't know if we created a monster, April.
I mean, after last week's, the way that we ended it, I mean, that felt like TNA, you know.
It was pretty. If you didn't see what happened last week's episode, go back and watch it. It's also on podcast towards the end. We had a real impromptu moment that became. It was a moment. We'll just say that. It was I guess some kind of version of Christian smut. I don't know. It was really weird.
It was something for sure.
Deanna, thank you so much for the super chat. She says, I live in a very red, rural part of the country. You guys help me stay sane. Thank you. Feel better, Tim. Appreciate that. All super chats are always read, and they're guaranteed to be read on stream. So thank you so much for that, Deanna. It means the world.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's do the golf tracker. Let's go to Trump's golf tracker because the last few times we've brought it up, he was trending down. Right. He's trending back up. So he's been in office now for 157 days. He has spent 38 of those days golfing.
Wow.
Last time we checked, it was, I think, at 22%. So he has now gone back up to 24.2% of his time in office has been spent golfing. And while we're on this topic, I have a confession to make.
Okay. I'm
I
ready.
have fallen for some fake news. There's this video of Donald Trump playing golf going around from this past week, and he whiffs it. He whiffs the ball and then just picks the ball back up as if he didn't just completely miss the ball when he swung. Do you want to play it? Is this the video here?
Mm-hmm. Here we
This
go.
is it. This is it, right?
And now driving President Trump.
So on the tee. I love the applauses. Yay. He works so hard with finding peace in the Middle East.
So the cheer. Yay.
So he's warming
So
up.
here he's just practicing. Yeah, he's whiffing, but this is intentional. So then he totally just misses, and then he picks the whole thing up like it didn't happen.
Okay.
And
right.
it was being shared by a lot
It
of
was.
people
It was.
that were saying it was real and were making fun of him. And to be fair, I also believed it was real because I do think if he were to ever whiff a ball, he probably would pretend that he didn't just whiff the ball.
100%. That would be a question.
That video was fake. They literally had to write an article to say, hey, that video's fake. Stop sharing it. And I just want to say, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second.
Go ahead.
I get very annoyed when people, because the right has always done this, but I've been seeing more lately, people from the left or just people that are not Trumpers sharing tweets or truths from Donald Trump that he posts on his Truth Social that are that are just fake. They're photoshopped,
Clearly.
but they're sharing it. And I think a lot of people are sharing them because they think they're real. Fact check. It's literally why I have a Truth Social account. I never post on there. I just have one so that when I see something online of Trump saying something that is absolutely insane, because here's the thing, he says insane stuff all the time. We don't need to be making stuff up in addition to the insane stuff. But a lot of times I'll go and look and he never said that. So let this just be a lesson to all of us, including myself, because I did fall for that video. Fact check. Fact check.
Fact check.
It's important, especially in a world of fake news and all of that. And I don't like it on either side or from no matter who it does. If you're sharing something that's not factual, I'm not a fan.
It's also why, and look, I'm just going to be honest with some people. I've seen some folks out there saying that the election was probably rigged, and this is why we don't spread that stuff, because we need evidence, like hard evidence. Not there was a problem in a county. We need hard evidence before we start saying things like the election was rigged. And there's been
but there is a court case in New York though about
in New York. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But even let's say that thing in New York was totally fraudulent, it would still not affect the overall outcome of the election. And I'm just trying to be consistent with what I said in 2020, because in any election, you can always find cases of fraud or people not voting legally that happen. There's millions of people are voting. It's going to happen. But the question is, was there enough and was it intentional to overturn what would have been an election result? And just like in 2020, even with all the cases of fraud, they were so minuscule in the grand scheme of things, they had no impact on the election outcome. I'm not even close to saying, well, guys, I think that there was such widespread fraud in this past election that everything was, was actually incorrect, and they actually stole the election from us. And I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying I would need evidence before I start talking about it on this show.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Do I find some things that have happened in the last year or so suspicious? Yes. Is it enough to go on here or on my platform and start saying like it was stolen, we need to be, or the assassination was staged? Like there's all of these things that, yes, there are suspicious things around it,
right?
But there's zero evidence that it was not what it was. And in a world where strange things happen all the time, let's just try not to spread things until there's evidence behind it.
And look, here's what I'm saying. 'Cause I know some people are going to be like, well, it's suspicious. Sure, things are suspicious. I mean, this is how conspiracy theories kind of take off. There's always a hint of truth in a conspiracy theory. There's always some idea that could be true, but it becomes this thing that's so much bigger than their actual reality. So I'm not saying that it's out of the realm of possibility that some people did things to overturn or, again, rig the election in 2024. But until I have hard evidence, widespread evidence that's been proven or that is really in front of our face of widespread fraud, I'm not going to promote that on this show personally.
But we will be following that case in New York.
For sure.
What unfolds.
Yes. We want to be as data driven, and of course we always give commentary, but we want to be as data driven as we can be. It's just that simple.
Yeah. So why don't we start off the show with some good news?
Yes.
That shocked Republicans and Democrats alike. The New York City mayor race was earlier this week, and a new up-and-comer upset Andrew Cuomo, who a lot of people thought had it in the bag.
Yep.
I don't know how. But Zohran Mamdani won. He won the Democrat primary.
Absolutely. I love this.
And he is very, very progressive. He is a self-proclaimed democratic socialist. And I mean, I was shocked. To be fair, though, I really don't know much about him. I learned about him pretty much in the last week with the mayor race. I heard, I was a little confused why I was seeing different Democrats endorse Andrew Cuomo, because I thought we had moved past Andrew Cuomo, given
the
allegations.
It is shocking to me. Yeah, exactly. Like, are you guys kidding me? Can we just talk about that for a second? Andrew Cuomo has credible accusations of sexual assault by multiple women. What?
Was it assault or harassment?
Well, I mean, one of the accusations is that he went under someone's shirt. I would call that assault personally, but we can call it harassment. Either way.
I just want to make sure we're using the right language. But yeah.
Sure. Either way. Okay. He's not a good person, and he resigned in disgrace. And the fact that like mainstream Democrats were endorsing this dude, you got to be kidding me, right? I mean, you understand how that completely takes away all of your credibility of accusing Trump of being this horrible person who assaults women. You can't do that. It's ridiculous. So I'm glad to see that Cuomo did not get the nominee or the nomination. And I love, and I'm like you, April, you and I are so deep in the Christian nationalist lore, always trying to figure out what's going on there, that we don't know what's going on in other parts of the country. So when I saw that he won, I started looking into him. I was like, I like this dude. Like, sign me up. So it was definitely good news. Welcome news for sure.
Yeah, a little bit about him. He was born in Uganda to Indian parents. He became an American citizen in 2018 after graduating. And his mom is an award-winning filmmaker. And then his dad is an anthropology professor at Columbia University. And I mean, his resume is very impressive. Let's just say that. He seems like a really nice, like, cool, empathetic guy. And from what I've heard of his policies, it's honestly, it feels like a rare win in what we're seeing right now in our country. And I think hopefully it'll also wake up the Democrats, who kind of aren't always the best.
I actually have a really good clip during the debate of Andrew Cuomo and Zohran Mamdani. I want to talk about. I want to share this clip that I think is so good, that just shows how this dude was so composed during the debate. Watch this clip, friends. It's so good, and then we'll come back to it.
Never dealt with a hurricane, with a flood, etc. He's never done any of the essentials, and now you have Donald Trump on top of all of that, and he's never dealt with what I think is the greatest national threat that we face in this president. To put a person in this seat at this time with no experience is reckless and dangerous.
To Mr. Cuomo, I have never had to resign in disgrace. I have never cut Medicaid. I have never stolen hundreds of millions of dollars from the MTA. I have never hounded the 13 women who credibly accused me of sexual harassment. I have never sued for their gynecological records, and I have never done those things because I am not you, Mr. Cuomo. And furthermore, the name is Mamdani, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. You should learn how to say it because we got to get it right.
Love him. Love him. And he's only 33.
Oh, I know. Which makes me feel old because I'm older than him.
Yeah, I know. By the way, I have to make because we're gonna get into the white evangelical and Christian nationalist response of this, which is if you're assuming that they were horrible towards him and super Islamophobic, you're correct. But it is ironic to me that a 33-year-old brown-skinned man who's essentially saying we have to take care of the poor, and make things affordable, preaching good news to the poor, is running for mayor. And so many Christians are like, this guy's a communist. He's a Marxist. We can't vote for him. It's like, who he sounds like? There's another 33-year-old brown-skinned man I'm thinking about who also proclaimed good news to the poor that millions of evangelicals supposedly worship every Sunday.
Oh my God.
So it cracks me up just seeing the response. But I mean, really quick, I just want to go down some of his his platform, because some people, including Democrats, by the way, there are some Democrats who are painting him as like this extremist, okay? This like radical, crazy extremist. Here's on his website just a few of his platform policies. He wants to freeze the rent in New York City, build affordable housing. He wants to crack down on bad landlords. He wants more city-owned grocery stores. He wants fast, fare, free buses. He wants to fight corporate exploitation, no-cost childcare, baby baskets for New York's newborns. That sounds pretty pro-family to me. He wants taxing corporations in the 1%. Sounds great. He wants LGBTQIA protections. When it comes to healthcare, he wants more affordable healthcare in the city. He wants to raise labor wages to $30 an hour by 2030. Yes. I mean, April, this is what you and I talk about on the show almost weekly. Like, this is not complicated. And then people always say, well, how do you pay for it? By taxing the ultra rich. That's how you pay for it. And we did this in the 1940s and 50s. Like, there's data to support this. There is data to support this. So I am absolutely thrilled. I didn't mean to skip this. I thought I read it. No cost childcare. That is another big piece of the agenda. Yeah. So why don't we go to some of the responses?
Can we start with Donald Trump's?
Of course we can, April. We can do whatever you want.
I don't know if we mentioned this yet, but he is Muslim.
Yes, he's Muslim.
And that's got people all freaked out.
All freaked out.
For all the wrong reasons. Like, that is such a small piece of his whole platform. And literally, it doesn't matter. Like, it would just be the same thing as if he were Christian. Like, anyway, doesn't matter. Let's read this tweet by Donald Trump. He said, "It's finally happened. It's finally happened. The Democrats have crossed the line. Zohran Mamdani, 100% communist lunatic, has just won the Dem primary and is on his way to becoming mayor. We've had radical lefties before, but this is getting a little ridiculous. He looks terrible. His voice is grating. He's not very smart. He's got AOC +3, dummies all backing him, and even our great Palestinian senator crying Chuck Schumer is groveling over him. Yes, this is a big moment in the history of our country." How can he say he looks terrible and that his voice is grating? What is he talking about?
I don't know how to say this. There is nothing. What Mamdani is proposing is not radical at all. Period. What is radical is the amount of wealth that's been transferred to the ultra 1%, that it is sucking up it's a huge transfer of wealth. We're watching the middle class and lower class being squeezed more and more, and people like Trump and his people are responsible for that process, right? The fact that we have someone who is saying we need affordable wages, we need affordable childcare, we need affordable healthcare, this is not radical. There is, you know why it's not radical? Because many other countries that are much smaller in terms of size and GDP of the U.S. make it happen for their citizens. The UK, Scotland, many countries in Europe and in Asia offer their citizens affordable health care or paid family leave. And they give their citizens a newborn basket when you have a kid. This is not like some
Radical.
crazy idea.
That's too extreme, Tim.
Right. What is extreme is the fact that people work 40, 60, sometimes even 80 hours and still can't make it in this country. That's what's extreme, April. What's extreme is that there are people, including me, who would rather not go to the hospital or not call an ambulance because they're afraid about not being able to afford the ambulance bill or the hospital bill. That's extreme. That's crazy.
I am with you.
Oh my! It is wild that we are here. This isn't radical at all.
I know. Thank you, Mary. We got another super chat.
Oh.
She said,
Here it is.
"Did you see Mamdani's campaign picture? Smile went right up to his eyes. That's a winning photo." I will say he has a great smile. Not that that's why you vote for somebody, but it doesn't hurt. I would take that over Trump's smile, which, yeah. Have we ever seen Trump laugh?
Maybe during January 6th.
Oh gosh. Too soon.
Sorry.
Too soon.
Let's read some other tweets here.
Yeah.
So as you can imagine, right-wing media, they really showed their colors. Right now, look, I've been saying, and so has April, we've been saying that Christian nationalist leaders, especially like your Charlie Kirks and your Matt Walshes, they are incredibly racist, and they don't want immigrants coming into this country legally or illegally. It doesn't matter how, or term used loosely, it doesn't matter how you slice it. And Charlie Kirk really shows that. Where's the one? Is this the one? Yeah, here we go. So Charlie Kirk tweets this. The lesson from New York City is that both illegal and legal immigration can ruin your country. It's not just the open border. It's also our suicidal mass legal migration policies, bringing in over 1 million people a year. Green cards, chain migration, refugee resettlement, anchor babies, and asylum scams. This all needs to be ended. This is what we've been saying, April. These people want a white country for white European people, because Charlie would never say this about people migrating from Germany over to the U.S., right, or from the U.K. over to the U.S. It's not about that. It's about brown-skinned people being in this country legally or undocumented. Either way, they need to go. They need to go because they are essentially replacing the voting demographic. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that, because I have this tweet to show people as well. So Stephen Miller, this is I mean, guys, Stephen Miller is like a top U.S. official in the Trump administration. He's responsible for so much of the immigration policies, all this stuff. Stephen Miller says the commentary about New York City Democrats nominating an anarchist socialist for mayor omits one point: how unchecked migration fundamentally remade the New York City electorate. Democrats change politics by changing voters. That's how you turn a city that defined U.S. dominance into what it is now. With William Wolf retweeting that, saying mass migration must be met with mass deportations. If it's not, we will lose America to the third world. Friends, look, listen to me very closely. This is exactly what the KKK believes and says. This is what they say. David Duke, a grand wizard of the KKK, says that America is being overtaken by immigrants. They are replacing us. This is called the Great Replacement Theory. And it should chill us to the bone to see KKK talking points being espoused from people who are this high up in these administrative, political spaces. It is wild. Like, it's here. White supremacy is here. It's here. This is what's going on. It is unbelievable to witness.
Well, yeah, and I feel like we're kind of seeing something very similar to what we saw so much after 9/11, which is rampant Islamophobia.
Rampant.
That just because someone is Muslim, that somehow they're responsible for 9/11. Like, I can't tell you how many tweets that I've seen, Nancy Mace. For one, yep. I don't know if you have that one, but she said after 9/11, we said never forget. I think we sadly have forgotten, which is just so much. It's so hateful. It is so bigoted. Like, and honestly, Islamophobia, especially we're coming of age, like in 9/11 and like the Iraq war and George Bush and all this stuff, like I had to unlearn Islamophobia because it was just in the water. You just believed that all Muslims hated you, hated America, hated Jesus, hated God, like we're supposed to convert you or kill you. Like those are things that I was taught until I actually like started talking to other Muslims or to Muslims and realizing they don't feel that way at all.
100%.
And yeah, of course there's extremists, but just like you and I, we are Christian, and we don't like when people lump us in with crazy white supremacist Christian nationalists. Like those are the extremists of our religion, and we do not follow that at all. That goes against the teachings of Jesus.
So William Wolf, he's a huge Christian nationalist, incredibly racist. He says, New York City is going to elect a foreign-born Muslim as mayor, but please tell me more about how Christian nationalism is the real threat. So I quote tweeted him and just shared pictures of the January 6th insurrection. Like, yeah, William.
Yeah.
Like, yes. I mean, this is why we say it's a real threat, because guess what? It wasn't radical Islam that stormed our Capitol on January 6th with, waving the Quran around. It was Christians. It was white Christians who stormed our Capitol with signs like that, or flags that said, Jesus is my savior, Trump is my president, or in God we trust, or bringing a cross to the insurrection. And you know, April, as well as I do, that if that happened with all Islamic iconography, William Wolf, all these folks would never stop talking about it, and American politicians would make all kinds of rules right away. But because it was Christians who did this, well, not all Christians, guys. No, that doesn't speak for us. Or some people just flatly deny what happened on January 6th. It was mostly peaceful. It was an inside job. But when it comes to a Muslim man getting the nominee to become mayor potentially of New York City, right, who's preaching about the need to take care of the most marginalized and to clean up the city in a way where all its residents can flourish. Suddenly, he's a radical Islamist who's also a Marxist and must be defeated because immigration. I mean, thank you. I appreciate them for saying the quiet parts out loud. Thank you for no longer having to dog whistle things, because now we can say, look, here are the receipts. These are racist, Islamophobic, xenophobic people who want to make America as white as possible. And it's on display for the world to see.
Yeah, and I don't know if you ever get this too, but a lot of times I feel like frequently left comment whenever I call out Christian nationalism or I expose something harmful in evangelicalism. I can't tell you how many times I got the comment that says, "Great, do Islam next."
Yeah, right.
Now do Islam. I'm like, I was never Muslim. And I'm not Muslim. I'm a Christian. I'm going to call out the harm in my own faith. There are plenty of Muslims and ex-Muslims that can do that for Islam.
Totally.
But it's so infuriating. It's the same thing that they do with queer people. They paint all queer people as predators with zero evidence, and then they completely ignore the predatory behavior in their own churches, in their own pews, by their own pastors and church leaders. For that, it's just a few bad apples, and we can excuse those, or they can be redeemed, but not for anybody else. And it's the same thing when it comes to Islam.
100%. This is what we call Christian supremacy. These are Christian supremacists, And again, it goes back to the data that we always cite. Christian nationalists do not believe in multiculturalism. They don't believe in pluralism. They don't believe in religious diversity. They want America to be as Christian and as European-centric as possible. Bottom line. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for Zohran. How do you say his name again? I keep mispronouncing it. I know I do.
I've heard Zohran Mamdani.
Can I confess something live on the air? I get, whenever I hear or I read a name that I'm not sure to pronounce, I always get so worried about trying to pronounce it, which only makes me most times mispronounce it. It happens all the time with anyone's name, especially on the podcast. So I get so nervous and I stutter trying to say the word. So I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. It's not intentional, but it also is like a major point of anxiety for me, mispronouncing someone's name or, some other, it just gets, I get in my head about it, April. I get in my head about it.
No, I feel that. I don't know if this is a segue, but I know that since everything's broken out between Israel, Trump, and Iran, I still catch myself saying Iran because I was raised in Texas, and that's just how everybody said it. And it is like, I have to stop and think like, I need to say this right. So there's like a hesitation like Iran.
Yes,
it does
Iran.
not come natural.
I was practicing earlier. I'm like, Iran. Iran. I could do this, because you're right. I always heard it said Iran. So that's how you used to say it. But obviously that's not correct. So it's,
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
boy.
speaking of Iran and Trump and Israel, Trump declared a ceasefire, and then there wasn't a ceasefire, and then he got mad and he cussed. And then there was a ceasefire. And as far as I believe we're still in the ceasefire situation. I think it's been successful. It's been a little over 24 hours.
I actually have live footage of Trump declaring the ceasefire. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right now?
Yeah, here you go.
Perfect.
Check this out. This really happened.
I declare
ceasefire.
There you go. That's how it happened. For friends listening on the podcast, that was the Michael Scott from The Office declaring bankruptcy, but we spliced in ceasefire instead.
I mean, that really is what he practically did, because he declared it.
Yeah.
I can. Do you want to read this whole thing? It's so rambly. Hold on, let me find it. I got it right. Hold on, no, come back. Gosh, I have so many of his stupid tweets screenshotted.
I knew that you were going to be reading a lot of Trump on this episode.
Okay, I don't. Did I send that to you? It is a long one. Make it bigger. No. Make that one bigger so I can read it. For some reason, I don't have it on my phone. So it's a whole.
Is that big enough?
Yeah, I can read that.
Okay.
So this was the initial announcement, I do believe. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a completely and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire. And upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire. And upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. Yes, saluted. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful. On the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will, I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel, God bless Iran, God bless the Middle East, God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. Donald J. Trump, President. Oh, sorry. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. I love how he signs his own tweets. It's
like it's some official declaration.
It's like those grandmas on Facebook, and I know a few that like their own posts.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, Trump spoke too soon because according to Fox News, the very unbiased Fox News, Trump's Israel-Iran ceasefire nearly collapses hours after announcement. Which it did. They started bombing each other again. They started launching they started launching missiles.
I know. And then Trump was pissed about it and was interviewed and then said this.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Wow. Now, this is a big deal because I'm not sure about you, April, but as a good white Christian, I was taught that, you don't say words like that. And people who do probably are not good people, who say the F word, especially on live TV. So we actually have a little montage that we're going to play of just how some Republicans or some right-wing commentators treat when Trump curses versus when Democrats curse. I just think it's very telling to see how one-sided this is. So watch this, friends.
After the president dropped a 4-letter word on the White House lawn, it appears not all F-bombs are created equal, at least on Fox. Here's how one host reacted to Trump and then 20 minutes later reacting to a Democrat using the same word.
The president feeling very frustrated this morning and using some salty language as he lashed out at both countries, accusing them of violating the agreement that he hopes will lead to peace in the region. I was particularly repulsed by Rep. Jasmine Crockett's comments, where she said, I'm the one that's supposed to make the effing decision on bombing Iran. First of all, it's a pretty foul mouth of her for someone that went to a tidy little all-girls Catholic school.
In fact, it seems there's a lot of pearl clutching over at Fox whenever the swearing is done by liberals.
I don't understand all the Democrats cursing. I find it very unpersuasive and undignified.
They've got expensive education, some of them. Why are they out of words? I'm confounded by the fact that they've got to cuss.
When you swear repeatedly like that, that doesn't equal passion. It equals disrespect.
Now they think cursing like drunken sailors will somehow make the American people like them again.
Look, to me, the Democrats are like a bunch of potty-mouthed kids.
But when Donald Trump does it, zero Fox given.
Oh, nice.
More on our...
That was a good pun.
That was a good one.
So salty. It's just a little salty. Trump was frustrated when Trump did it, showing passion.
Yeah.
But when a Democrat does it, or especially like Jasmine Crockett, who I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that she's a black woman. She's foul and petty, and they're repulsed by it, which is just stupid.
It's just so obvious. I don't know. They have to see it. They have to.
Yeah. Honestly, I really don't care. I don't care if he cusses or not. I've never once thought he was a good person. So it does nothing for me. And also I cuss.
Yeah.
Who doesn't cuss?
I don't care.
These days. These are the days of cussing.
For sure. I don't care if Biden cursed or if Trump. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But again, in the tradition that we were raised in that votes for Trump, cursing is a big deal. And by the way, Trump said the F word. I mean, he said like the mother of all words. You know, it wasn't. He didn't say damn or shit. He said.
Well, and then in the rest of that video too, he was like, I am mad. He was basically saying, I'm very disappointed and upset with Israel, and I'm disappointed and upset with Iran, and was just like he was not happy because he declared ceasefire. Once you declare something, that's it. You know, that should be it.
That's it.
Wash your hands.
How dare
everyone go home?
How dare two other sovereign countries, one of which we just bombed unexpectedly, not listen to my words on Truth Social? Like, what? I don't get it, guys. How dare you not obey my commands? I posted it on Truth Social, and I signed it with my name and title. So you know it's official.
Where was the one Truth Social that he's posted where he was like, all right, it's now official, like the second ceasefire one where he's like, Israel's gonna turn around and do their little wave.
Is it this
where
one?
He talked about they were gonna do a friendly wave. I don't know.
I don't think I have that one. Let me see.
Maybe I didn't send it, but that one was a.
No, I don't have.
I mean, they're all quite stupid if we're being honest. Doesn't matter. He was just being silly, but he did say in the second announcement of the ceasefire that Israel was going to just do a friendly little wave from the sky and return their planes.
Oh my goodness.
We have to laugh so we don't cry because on it, like this guy, Trump has the nuclear codes. Like what are we doing? I do want to say, if he does, if this ceasefire and if what happens there actually does lead to peace, then that's great. You know, I will give credit where credit is due. I have high doubts that that's actually going to happen, because one group of people that is consistently left out of these negotiations by Donald Trump are Palestinians. You know, 100%. Where is the peace for them? Where they are starving in Gaza still, and there's no. Trump's not talking about trying to find freedom for Palestine. So
100%. I lost the clip that you sent me of Nancy Mace. I gotta find it now. I thought I downloaded it, but I can't find it. Of her saying that Trump is gonna win the Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh no, that's Katie Britt.
Sorry, Katie Britt. Where did that one go? I thought I had it.
I don't know, but there was also that video that Trump posted. Also on Truth Social. After Trump, after the actual ceasefire.
Do we have to play this? Okay, friends.
He posted this.
Yeah. So 2 things here. First off, if you're just joining the stream, welcome. please make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps get it out to more people. Number 2, whenever we play audio with music in it, even if it's not original music, YouTube always flags it and demonetizes us. So if you want to support the work that we're doing, because we're going to play this, you can give us a super chat or you can donate to TNE, and it covers all of that. So thank you so much. But yeah, make sure to give this stream a like. But yes, this is a real video that Trump shared
on Tuesday night at 7:15 after the act, like they agreed to the ceasefire again.
I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I just have to play part of this. This is real. Trump reshared this. It has 34,000 likes. Here you go.
Bum, 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 Iran. Bum, 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 Iran. Bum, 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 Iran. What country's got a feeling really hit the ceiling? Bum, Iran. Bum, 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 Iran. Went to a mosque, gonna throw some rocks.
Okay, cut it.
Good. Good enough.
Just the fact that someone could make a joke video about bombing another nation where people have died, where innocent people live and go to school and learn and listen, the Iranian regime has problems. If you ask any Persian American or people that are there, you know, there was that revolution that happened a few years ago with the women and the modesty police. Like, it has problems for sure, and the people there
100%.
are oppressed, and also they don't deserve having bombs dropped on them. And the fact that you have the president of the United States posting a joke video about that, it's so inhumane and disgusting. And then JD Vance, do you have that tweet that he posted? He also is just having a grand old cackle about the whole thing. He tweeted, I wonder if other VPs had as much excitement as I do, crying laugh emoji. And then I actually do really appreciate what Republican Thomas Massey said in response to JD Vance. And he said, ask Mike Pence about his last month. When they try to hang him.
It's so beneath like the presidency. They are children. We have 12-year-old children running the White House. And again, like, it is ridiculous that the sitting president of the United States would share a video about bombing Iran. And that also has Islamophobic content in it. Like, you know, went to a mosque is part of what it says. It says make it a parking lot at one point in the song. Like, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. I'm continually, you know, April, we've been doing this show for a few months now. You and I have been doing this work for years, and I'm still at times speechless at what comes out of the sewer, the swamp of the MAGA movement, and that is tolerated by its followers. When is bombing other countries and then making a video like that ever acceptable or okay? It's gross. It's so dehumanizing. And again, brought to you by white evangelicals who still think to this day that Trump overall was doing a bang-up job. Like, what are we doing here, Christians? Jesus.
It's similar to the ASMR video that they posted when they were arresting quote unquote illegal immigrants. Like,
exactly.
They were also making a joke. The Trump administration is so inhumane. Like, at the very basic level, take out even the inhumane policies, the crippling of Medicaid and funding for just basic human needs, both here and globally. Take all that aside. Just the way that they are making jokes about human suffering is so disgusting. And the fact that there's so many Christians that still think Trump is somehow this great Christian that's making America more Christian is so infuriating. Like, infuriating is not a strong enough word for how much it angers me as a Christ follower and disappoints me at the same time. Like, I am both equal parts angry and disheartened.
You know, to just to quote the commander-in-chief, to draw from him, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. It's fucking disgusting, April.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's disgusting. And it just shows how bankrupt the American evangelical theological world is. What theology? How do you read the Sermon on the Mount and go, you know what? I love Trump. He's draining the swamp. Yeah, we're bombing other countries. But hey, you know, we're making America godly again and Christian again. We're bringing Christian values back to. If these are Christian values, then get me the hell out of here. Like, I'm changing my faith tradition then, if these are Christian values. Thankfully, they're not Christian values. They are Christian nationalist values, you know, and they're antichrist in nature. But my God, it's unbelievable that we are here every day, and there are still so many Christians who go, no, Trump's doing a great job. It is disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah. On top of all of this, I don't know if you're going where I was also going to go. There's also just this general glee among evangelicals and Christian nationalists over what wars in the Middle East mean for the biblical end times. And there's kind of this like palpable excitement.
Let's get into this. And just by the way, friends, we're not going to go super deep here because we're limited with time. I am doing a 3 or 4 part series on all of this, more of a deep dive with different experts on the TNE podcast. Episode 1's already out with Kevin Carnahan. We're having an Iranian guest come on that will drop probably on Monday, and then we're going to do an episode on end times theology and evangelicalism. So we're doing deeper dives on the TNE podcast. You can go subscribe and watch it over there. It will also be out on YouTube. So we're going to have some assumptions kind of baked into this part. But yes, I mean, April, to your point, as we know, both of us grew up in this world where you believe that you are just kind of living in the end times, and that certain things in the Middle East as they take place are actually fulfilling biblical prophecy. I think one of the best clips to play to kind of show you how maybe like the average white evangelical leader and subsequent follower probably thinks about matters going on right now in the Middle East, and this is of Josh Howerton. Josh Howerton is a massive Christian nationalist pastor. He has a mega church, actually one of the biggest churches in America. He's insufferable. I really want, especially if you're watching this, I want you to look at Josh's facial expressions and tone as he talks about this, and really consider the words that he's saying. And then April and I will come back and give you guys some commentary.
The Bible says that this attack at the end of time will come on Israel from the north and the south, and that will be the final war, the war to end all wars that will usher in the end of time. Now here's the question. Are we entering into that war right now? In Ezekiel 38 and 39, it mentions nations Gog and Magog. That would be like modern day Russia. It also mentions Persia in Ezekiel 38 and 39. That corresponds to modern day Iran. What we do know is that if Iran enters the war, that Turkey and Russia will probably go with them. Right behind them will be North Korea and China. And if all of the world powers start attacking from the north and the south, start trying to attack Israel, that could be the war to end all wars that ushers in the end of history. You may be going right now like, bro, this is heavy, man. Can I just say this? There's a lot of hope in Ezekiel 38 and 39 because we know how that battle ends. But the Bible says exactly at the moment when it looks like all hope is lost for the descendants of Isaac, that the Lord himself, Jesus Christ, will descend. He will take the battlefield and he will win the war once and for all time.
Okay. Wow.
According to the math of this final war, of what I was taught, it's like basically more than half. It's like a third and then another additional third later that are just going to be killed.
Right.
Of the entire global population.
That's right.
And he's like, even if you believe that, right? If you believe in biblical prophecy that is going to happen, you have a pastor right here who is smiling. He is smiling while talking about the destruction of most people on earth.
This dude is smiling.
Most people on earth.
Right. By the way, I want to just bring up just one theological point really quick. This idea of Gog and Magog. First off, in Ezekiel, I believe it's Gog. Gog is not a country in Ezekiel. It's a prince. It's a person, if you just read it. Number two, there is absolutely this idea that he says of like Gog or Magog being modern day Russia is made up. It's completely made up. It is just pulled out of thin air, and it is made up. It is a made up statement. And this kind of
I was
theology.
taught that growing up.
Yeah, no, me too. Me too. But it's made up. And this theology, here's the thing, friends. Here's the thing. Do we ultimately care what you believe about the end of the world? No, of course not. We all have our thoughts and hypothesis about, when things might end. And look, every generation feels like maybe they're the last ones. Even the Apostle Paul thought he was living in the last days. Okay, we get that. But when these kinds of ideas drive U.S. foreign policy, which they do, because people like Mike Huckabee believe this stuff. He's currently the ambassador to Israel. This is when it gets real dangerous. There are people out there who really believe this. They believe that we are closer than ever to an all-out war, where most people, by the way, including Jewish people, are going to die and, by their own theological standards, go to hell. They're going to burn forever in hell and be tormented forever in hell. That's what people like Josh believe about the, life after death. And Josh is smiling about that. Josh can't wait for this to actually happen. And this is why we're so livid about this, because this theology, by the way, last thing I'll say. Oh, Kip is in the chat. Great. Thank you, Kip. Good to see you. If I said anything incorrect, please let me know. He's like my personal scholarly fact checker whenever we're live, which I really appreciate.
Perfect.
We always want to be factual. But the last thing I'll say about this is that this end time theology, this rapture theology, right? This idea that at any moment the true Christians will get vanished and sucked up into heaven, and then the beginning of the tribulation starts, this intense period of suffering and war and carnage. It literally was invented mostly in the 19th century out of a theological ideology called dispensationalism, founded by someone named John Nelson Darby, largely. I mean, it's a little more complicated than that, but he was the one who really popularized it. And then books like the late great Planet Earth and Left Behind really put it into the average American evangelical psyche. Most Christians, both historically and today, do not believe any of this. They don't believe any of this stuff. It is a uniquely American evangelical phenomena, and it's so powerful in U.S. politics that it drives some of the policies we have towards Israel. That's why there's this idea of America must stand with Israel, because people like Josh believe that if we don't, God will also punish us and take his blessing away from us. So it's all tied to this, and as you can see, many of them are just giddy about it. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, rapture anxiety is so real. I remember when I first learned that the word rapture is not in the Bible, I was pissed. I thought there was a mistake, but then I genuinely, when I realized it was not a belief, I think 1833 was when John Nelson Darby first kind of put it out into the world. It was the 1830s. I was so mad because I'm going to tell the story real quick.
Go ahead, tell it.
Traumatizing. It's kind of funny, but it's also not. I was 13, ready, right? I'm on AOL Instant Messenger. I'm chatting. I'm flirting with a boy. Okay? I admit it. I was flirting.
We've all been there, April. We've all been there.
That your thoughts were sinful. If you were lusting, that was the same thing as committing adultery. So whether or not I was sinning is up for interpretation, but I was, I thought maybe I'm not doing the right thing, but I like this boy, so I'm just going to flirt, right? Suddenly I realized the house seems a little more quiet than it should be. So I say, Mom, Dad. No one answers. Call for my brothers. No one answers. I start looking around the house. Can't find anybody. My mom's purse is still on the table. I go into the garage. The cars are still there. I go into my parents' room. I guess my mom had just done laundry or whatever, but there's folded clothes right on the bed. I don't know if you remember your Left Behind lore, but when people get raptured, they leave their clothes behind. And for whatever reason, and the ones that I saw, they were folded. Don't know why. Doesn't matter. Moving on. I start looking everywhere for my family. They have vanished. My dog's not even there. And I don't know if dogs get raptured, but I still wasn't comforted by the fact that my dog was also gone, right? I go to the front yard. I go to the backyard. I start walking down the golf course that we lived on at the time. And I start to panic. I'm having a panic attack because I genuinely believe now that I have been left behind at 13 years old. And I remember thinking, okay, there's a military shop a couple miles away. In this scenario, it's okay if I drive, even though I'm not allowed to. I'll go to the military store. I'll get food. I am psyching myself up to join the underground church and preparing myself to get my head chopped off. Genuinely, I was like, I'm going to have to refuse the mark of the beast, which is how you're going to, buy and sell food. And I'm literally giving myself a pep talk, trying not to cry. And giving myself like, it's okay, April. Guillotine death is very quick. It'll be painful for like 1 second and then you'll be in heaven. Like that's how dark it was. And then of course my family was just blissfully on a walk and they just didn't tell me where they had went. And I pretended like I hadn't did anything. And honestly, because I was flirting with that boy, I thought, oh, the last thing I did was a sin. That's why I got left behind. Like it is, that theology has done so much damage. Like it's kind of, it's funny because the idea that we would all get raptured naked. Why we're naked, I don't know. Like, it's funny. It doesn't make any sense. It's a stupid belief. But I believed it. And, like, to this day, if the house gets too quiet and I'm alone for, like, the splittest of seconds, I think rapture.
I get that. In fact, the chat is full of these. We have a few super chats that came in about this. First off, Mary, thank you so much for the super chat. Did you see Mamdani's... oh, wait, sorry, that's a different one. We read that one already. It was this one I have to read. Thank you, Olivia, for the super chat. They are counting on the Jews going to hell. They are gleeful about it. They are a bunch of anti-Semites. They just otherwise try to keep it behind doors. That is true. A lot of people in this space know that Jews will either convert to Christianity or they will die. So I agree. We've said many times on the show that Christian Zionism is inherently anti-Semitic. Kyle, thank you for the super chat. I legit developed insomnia after learning about Revelations as a child, and I was afraid of fire for a little bit, and then I was also mad, April. Absolutely. And then Deanna says here, again, Deanna, thank you for the super chat. All super chats are guaranteed to be read on the show, so thank you so much. Raise your hand if you've been personally victimized by rapture theology. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. It's so real. It's so real. 100%. I have another clip I want to play. I actually have two more. Just of different Christian leaders being giddy about this. This is Michelle Bachmann. Hear what she said.
We are living in the times that the Bible said that the prophets longed to see. The prophets of the Bible wanted to be alive now. When you and I are alive, they wanted to be alive because of what would happen, what was going to happen. Because it was very clear from the very beginning of the Bible, God gave a special purpose to the Jewish people.
Yeah, to be killed. Wild stuff. And I grew up believing this, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, and let's not forget too, every single decade since I've been alive, and then well before, Christians thought we were in the end times. That's what I try to remind myself too. Like even when I would think we were in the end times, back when I believed the rapture still, I would think, okay, but this isn't worse than World War II.
Right.
Right? And that wasn't the end. So,
right.
But I will say, in all honesty, Trump declaring peace in the Middle East, and like you have Katie Britt saying he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize and claiming that Trump's like this man of peace. I gotta be honest, my rapture anxiety is triggered because I don't know if you remember, but the guy who brings peace in the Middle East, according to the rapture theology that I was taught, is the freaking Antichrist.
Congrats, Christians. You did it. You did the thing. You became the self-fulfilling prophecy. Right. No, that's a huge part of it, right? When there's peace in the Middle East and we have one world government and they're all working together, right? That's the Antichrist.
It's the Antichrist.
That's the Antichrist.
It's so wild to me. And then there's so many Christians that are just suddenly like, nope. It's fine. We love Trump. We love peace over there. I mean, I remember being suspicious of peace growing up. Anytime there were peace talks with the United Nations, I was like, could be setting the stage for the Antichrist. You don't want too much peace. Like you want peace, but not too much. Right. Because that Antichrist suspicion right there.
Right. Exactly. I mean, you
don't want,
you don't want World War III, but also you don't want you don't want nothing either. You need a few bombs here and there. When you really evaluate that belief system from this vantage point, it really is crazy. Like it's insane. And look, I'm someone who believed this, okay, for a long time. But think about the outcome, because and think about how supremacist it is. Like when Josh Howerton was just in that video, he said at the end, but there's good news for those in Isaac or something to that effect. What he's saying is, well, for us though, we're going to be okay. They're all going to suffer, right? People over there are going to get bombed to smithereens, but we're going to be okay. It's such a European-centric, like white-centric, white theological take to have as your neighbors across the world are being bombed and obliterated to death to fulfill your ideology of some kind of biblical prophecy that was invented 160 years ago. Like, this isn't even like Orthodox Christianity, a term that they all love to throw out. This is a brand new idea in church history, and they believe it so much that they have no problem killing people. I mean, this was like, did we play last week the clip of Ted Cruz getting obliterated by Tucker Carlson on Israel?
Yes, we did.
Right, but Ted Cruz takes those like 4 words in Genesis about Israel so literally that he will help fund the genocide of the Palestinian people. But when Jesus tells us to take care of the sick, right, and to liberate the oppressed, well, that's just Marxism. We can't have affordable health care in the country. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Zachamania, thanks for the super chat. You want to hear of wars and rumors of wars, right? Yes, exactly.
Oh, wars and rumors of wars. And then
Exactly.
BB Gems in the chat brought up John Hagee, who's been preaching about end times for decades and wrong.
For decades.
I gotta admit, I have an irrational fear of blood moons. Because of John Hagee. I can tell you how many times he was on TV in my house growing up, just going off on blood moons. Blood moons and guillotines I have an irrational fear of because of this stupid belief.
Well, you were talking about the Antichrist end times thing. Have you seen what RFK said recently that I'm shocked a lot of like evangelical leaders are not picking up? Have you seen this?
Yeah, about the wearables.
Yeah. Listen to this. By the way, he really said this. This is not doctored.
Their diet, about their physical activity, about the way that they live their lives. We think that wearables are a key to the Maha agenda, making America healthy again. And we are going to, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
You don't say.
Wow. Now look, to be clear, what he's talking about is Apple Watches, glucose monitors, which by the way, are really great. I used to have an Apple Watch. Nothing wrong with wanting people to have wearables to help them with their health, right? But we know, April, that if this was a Harris administration and the Secretary of Health said that, it'd be all over MAGA spaces. Oh my gosh, it's the mark of the beast. They're coming for us. We knew this would happen. But because RFK said it, it's largely going unchecked.
You are correct. It is largely going unchecked, but I do want to give credit where credit is due. There is one rapture group that I am in, and they are a little bit unnerved by these wearables.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Someone named Mara said, the wearables equal mark of the beast system. So I guess not exactly calling it the mark of the beast. It's the system. I don't know what the difference is. She said it aligns with their Agenda 2030 and the New World Order. And this is where she loses me a little bit. She says, for those of you who got your real ID, you've already fallen into their agenda.
Yeah.
So apparently the real ID is also part of the mark of the beast system.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I mean, I have a real ID. I don't think it's part of the system, but that's just me.
Yeah. So there are some people that are saying, hey, never going to happen. This is suspicious, not a fan. But you're right. For the most part, it's going largely ignored. Again, though, if there was ever another side that Trump was the Antichrist, it's his own health dude talking about everyone wearing something on their wrists.
Right. And he said everyone. He didn't say optional. He said he wants everyone. That sounds kind of, that sounds like communism. That sounds like big government. It sounds like it's, and also, where does that data go? Who gets to, who's reading your health data? Probably the deep state, April. Obviously. Duh.
Yeah. I have seen a couple people online that have been Trump supporters and are maybe considering that he might be the Antichrist.
I love
but
that.
Still support him though, because he's being used by God. Just interesting.
Jacob, thank you so much for the super chat. Movies like Thief in the Night had me so freaked out. I was praying for salvation literally every night. Oh gosh, absolutely.
Have you seen A Thief in the Night?
I have not. I've just seen the trailer and that was enough for me. I was like, nope, I'm good. I am
mean,
good.
it packs a punch. This is another quick Rapture story, and it's not. A friend of mine used to be a youth leader, and in a youth group. I think it was in the 80s. They literally got the youth group kids' parents' permission, showed up to these kids' homes in the middle of the night at like 3 a.m.
No.
The parents let them in. They go, wake the kids up and say, "You're coming with us." They basically like kidnap these kids with parental consent, take them to the gymnasium of their church, where they then show them A Thief in the Night. And then when the movie is over, they say, "Just like you weren't prepared for us to come get you tonight, is how you're not going to be prepared when Jesus returns."
Oh my, the trauma. The trauma.
That really happened.
I believe that. I believe that. I believe that. Friends, thank you so much for being here. By the way, welcome to the stream. Please make sure to give this video a like. It helps get it out to the YouTube algorithm so more people will join. Also, we do have some new merch that's now available. The I Commit Sins of Empathy line and some other stuff that you can get. It's the link is in the description right there. It's the first link. So if you want to support the work that we're doing, super chats are welcomed, or you can buy a piece of merch and wear your empathetic sins proudly and let the whole world know what a terrible human you are because you're empathetic. Yeah. So, again, thanks for being here. It means a lot. One thing I wanted to cover, April, that I didn't put on our runner is that, did you see the Hetero Fest that happened in Idaho?
God. I saw clips, yeah.
Did you see what was said at the Hetero Fest? Did you see
I did.
Okay. So, friends, there, obviously whenever Pride Month happens, all of these usual white Christian nationalists get all butthurt that queer people are recognized in society and that pride flags exist. So someone decided to make a hetero festival to celebrate someone, to celebrate heterosexuality and family values. And they had, by the way, 50 people showed up over the 3 days. It was a complete failure of an event. But
really, only 50?
Yeah, about 50.
Oh,
yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah,
I enjoy
that was fun. But there was a podcast. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Jesus Unfollower. Hetero Awesome Fest was what it was called. You're right.
They called it the Hetero Awesome Fest.
And there was a podcast. Now, this happened in Idaho, by the way, so that should tell you a lot. And there was a podcast that was live streaming. And during the podcast, one of the podcasters said the following.
Boise's, it's a really nice place. It's
for
beautiful.
An American city.
It's top-notch
it is.
American city.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are still very good bars around, great food. There's the Basque District. Again, it's clean. There aren't any black people here.
And tons of Mormons, which
There's
is
a lot of Mormons.
chef's kiss in a city.
Oh, yeah.
That's so
racist.
Yeah.
Of course
my gosh,
it is.
That's
of course
terrible.
it is. Of course it's racist. So, it's horrible. Oh, it's terrible. So, the news caught up with the organizer of this event to do a little segment on him. I think it's just worth watching this 2.5 minute segment together, April. We can kind of pause if we want to as we respond. Okay. But yeah, now remember, this happened at this guy's festival, right? This guy literally said that one of the best reasons that, Boise, Idaho is so great is that because there are not any black people. Literally as racist as you can get. I mean, this is just segregationist talking points, 100%. Let's just watch this news segment and see what we all think about his response.
It's June and it's still Pride Month, but Hetero Awesome Fest has come to a controversial end. I'm your neighborhood reporter Jessica Davis speaking with the organizer of the festival and his response toward racist comments made at his event during a podcast.
It's top-notch American city.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are still very good bars around, great food. There's the Basque District. Again, it's clean. There aren't any black people here.
This is Dave Riley, the co-host and producer of The Backlash, a talk show described as the premier American nationalist talk show. Riley made those comments at the Hetero Awesome Festival this weekend at
Look at that. Super packed, April. Wow. Oh what a mob of people.
Boise.
They said, hey, can we set up and do a live broadcast, an interview. They wanted to sit and interview with the speakers that were coming to our event.
Mark Fitzpatrick is the owner of Old State Saloon, who put on the controversial event celebrating straight pride. And he's seen on video during Riley's comment. He says he didn't hear Riley because he didn't have the podcast headphones on.
You will never hear that from me. I won't say that. Nor do I think it was wise or a kind thing for him to say.
I reached out to Riley for an interview Monday. He wasn't available, but sent me this statement saying, quote, "Diversity is a weakness, not a strength. The LGBTQIA plus movement is satanic. Straight white people are welcome and wanted in Idaho. Christ is king."
Hold on, pause. I'm pausing. By the way, that's what Charlie Kirk would say. Charlie Kirk says that. Charlie Kirk says that. He says diversity is not a strength. Guys, all this guy is saying is that he's being consistent with his Christian nationalist ideals. This is why we say they are racist, because this is what they believe. It's wild. It's wild.
Notice too, even the guy who owned it, who was like, I would never say that.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought what he said was unwise.
Oh, yeah.
Notice he
I know.
didn't actually condemn what he said.
Oh,
he just said, I know I would never say that. Oh, there's more?
Yeah,
Good God.
Yep. Because you're exactly right. You're exactly right. So here's what he said in response.
You have somebody who's his own thing and has his own persona, right? He has a podcast, so he's going to choose to do what he decides to do. I'm not going to apologize for something that somebody else said. I will say, I definitely wouldn't have said it.
Fitzpatrick says he isn't racist, citing his Christian faith.
As long as they recognize they're a sinner and they know that Jesus Christ died on the cross for their sins. It doesn't matter what color you are.
Owner of Old State Saloon, Mark Fitzpatrick, tells us that they've learned a lot from this year's festival that they are going to keep in mind for next year, confirming that the Hetero Awesome Fest will be back in summer 2026.
There you go.
I think I need to point out for the people listening on podcast that the reporter who was interviewing the guy about the racist comment is a black woman.
Yep.
How do you not apologize?
He's not racist. He won't apologize for a podcast that he invited to be at the event saying that the city is better without black people. You won't apologize for that? Are you kidding me? And then you cite your quote-unquote Christian beliefs to prove that you're not racist? Wow.
It reminds me of
what are we doing?
I can't remember if I've ever shared this story here before. This is the day of April stories.
Share it.
Back in 2020, I lived in Cleveland, Tennessee, which is very, very white and conservative, and they went 77% for Trump. And in 2020, in our small town of 45,000 people, we had 2 Trump stores. Just to set the scene. Okay, so we're protesting our Confederate statue because that's the summer after George Floyd was murdered and all these Black Lives Matter protests happened. We're protesting, right?
Yep.
The local people would come and counter our protest. And one day, a local white Baptist preacher came and started preaching at us. And one of his main points in his quote-unquote sermon was that the color of sin is black.
Oh, my God.
2 Black Lives Matter demonstrators, many of whom were black themselves, right? Then that clip, we got it on video. It was online. It went a little viral. People were calling him racist. Then he went on a 45-minute Facebook Live, said he had never prayed more over a sermon in his life and knew it was from the Lord, and that it was impossible for him to be racist because he was a Christian. These people, what are you talking about? What are you talking? And it's so frustrating. And we even try to explain, sir, you were defending a Confederate statue that represents people who enslaved black people, who owned people. And then you were shouting at people holding Black Lives Matter signs and black people and said, the color of sin is black. And you don't understand how people could have taken that as being racist. And he was like, no, it was the Holy Spirit. What?
Well,
it's so infuriating.
Kyle, thank you for the super chat. He says, listen, it wasn't me who separated the water fountains, and I like collard greens, so I can't be racist. Exactly, Kyle, exactly. Golly. And thanks for the super chat, my friend. It means a lot. No, exactly. There is this is, look, when we say supremacy, there's a reason, because people who think that they're always right, that's supremacy. And just like you said, you're telling him to his face why he's not correct, what he's actually representing. And he's so stuck in his ways, he's so prideful and arrogant that he would rather hide behind God than admit that what he's doing is racist.
It's the people that say they don't see color too. It's like, oh, we don't see color. We can't be racist. I don't see. You absolutely see color. Stop lying.
Yeah, listen, you can't say we don't see color and then go, oh, that's a DEI hire. You can't do both. You can't do both. Which, by the way, the idea of color blindness actually comes out of white supremacy. I'm not sure if you know that, April. There's a really good book on this that describes how, like, after, being blatantly racist was kind of falling out of vogue, they essentially they changed the narrative from that to, oh, we just don't see color, and let's just leave systems kind of in place how they are because we don't see color, which actually continued to further marginalize especially Black Americans. So all of this stuff comes from somewhere, friends. Like, there's a history here, and shocker alert, it comes out of racist ideology. So,
yeah.
Oh goodness.
Can I do a shameless plug real quick? Last week people said we should promote our stuff more. In my book, Star Spangled Jesus, I have a chapter where I talk about all the Black Lives Matter protests and all the crazy things local people said. And I have a rapture chapter in there for those that want to laugh about
Buy the book, my friends. Elsa, thank you for the super
Star
chat.
Spangled Jesus is the name.
Time zones are hard. I'll catch up. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
All right, so
shall we get on to weird Christian beep?
Yes.
Not that we haven't just done.
Sorry. Oh, I cut you off. I thought you were ready. I was trying to be real smooth with the transition. It didn't work.
Oh no, it's fine. I was just making a stupid joke. Please continue. Weird Christian shit. Today we have a clip. It was a couple weeks old from Candace Cameron, who is the sister of Kirk Cameron.
It is. Yeah.
She played DJ Tanner in Full House, and she is regularly in she used to be in Hallmark movies, and then she went and started her own program because she didn't like that Hallmark featured gay people. Is basically the story.
She was standing on her Christian convictions, so.
Right, but she loves gay people. That doesn't mean she doesn't love them.
Right, as long as they believe, the gospel and repent of their sin, like, she's colorblind and sexual orientation blind.
Love the sinner, hate the sin.
Exactly.
If it was a person. Anyway, this is a clip on a podcast. I don't know the name of the podcast, but let's just watch it and then we'll discuss.
Don't even want someone watching a scary movie in our house on the TV, because to me, that's just a portal. Listen, I'm in the film industry. I understand how it all works. However, there's still something that can be incredibly demonic while they've made it. And I feel like it's a portal that gets opened up and let in. And that just reminded me, like, you posted something a while back about liquid death. And you're like, so do you want to buy a product that is literally being cursed as it's going out into distribution?
What does that mean?
Oh, I can explain this.
Thank you.
As
I need
the
help.
Token Pentecostal
Yeah,
here.
please educate me.
Tim,
yes.
if you didn't know,
I didn't know.
everything that you come in contact with has a spirit attached to it. It could be good spirits. It could be of God. And if it's not of God, it is of the devil. And so when you watch TV and she specifically talked about scary movies, which is what they usually say, but it doesn't have to be just scary movies. But the demons that were a part of the writing of that film, of the producing of that film, of the editing of that film, live within the pixels of the film. And when you watch it, you then open up a portal straight into your body where demons can then come out of the TV and into your home, potentially possessing you in the most extreme cases, but most likely just oppressing you. You now have evil spirits within your home. And I wish I could say I never bought into this, but there have been several times in my life after I watched something that was a little more demonic than I would like it to have been. I would literally rebuke the demonic spirits and declare the name of Jesus over them and say that they were not welcome and that they had to leave. And I didn't necessarily fully believe it, but I did it just in case, because it had been drilled into my head that demons could come through the TV into my soul. And I don't want to admit how long ago it was that I did that.
Okay, you don't have to.
Also, that happened just a few years ago. There was a lady out of Texas. Do you remember the movie Hocus Pocus 2?
Yes.
Straight to Disney Plus, kids movie. Well, there's a lady in Texas who warned parents not to watch it because they were witches that would unleash hell into your home and that demons would come through the TV from Hocus Pocus 2.
Wow. I'm kind of at a loss here. Okay, but how does liquid death fit into this? Just because it has death in the word, or in the title, it's automatically.
Yes, because death is always evil.
Always.
It's not a natural part of humanity.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's just what a way to live. I'm just being honest. I mean, look, I don't do scary movies. I'm a huge scaredy cat. Okay. I don't do that. I don't do them. But I also don't believe that there are demons living inside of the pixels that are going to oppress or possess me if I watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I do have bad dreams. That's just because I have very vivid dreams, regardless of what I watch.
Thank you for the super chat, Mix and Match. Longtime listener, thank you both for the podcast. It's given me plenty to think about with the topics at hand. April, thank you for your book. Got the audiobook while working at my job. Keep up the hustle. Thanks so much. That's super kind.
Thank you so much.
And Kyle also super chatted us. When I was little and did believe in demons/monsters, I would sing ironic by Alanis Morissette at them, and I would scare them away. Hey, you do what you got to do, Kyle. Like, we all have our ways of handling that. Wow.
We have another one from Liza too.
Oh, thank you, Liza, for the super chat. Appreciate that. It means the world. Friends, just so you know, all super chats go to making this show possible. It means the world to have your support, especially considering that this episode will probably be demonetized because we played that stupid bomb Iran video. And Liza, thanks again for another super chat. Oh yeah, I remember growing up with this. With this, Disney was the greatest portal, guys.
Oh yeah,
the
they do go after Disney a lot.
Well, that makes sense because I feel like they're always picking on Disney for LGBTQ indoctrination, etc. So.
It's so stupid. I mean, I will say, going
really
back to the hetero, which is wild to me because she works in the film industry, so she knows what goes on and listen. My Beecher is a film professor, and they've directed and produced many films. One of which was a comedic horror film a couple years ago, and I went on set where there was a very creepy, demonic-looking creature that was part of the big bad thing, right? And when you see him backstage just eating a Chick-fil-A sandwich, it's just like, it kind of takes the demonic scare.
Right.
You just see what it is. It's just a bunch of people making a movie, and it's fun, and it's a lot of work, and there's no demons involved.
Right. There's no satanic ritual involved. There's no goat being sacrificed in some kind of altar. It's just people making art.
Yeah, it's just art. And if the art scares you, it doesn't mean you now have a demon. It just means you're scared. And that was the intention of the filmmaker, actually.
Right. Yes.
It's the
yes.
point.
They actually did their job. They did their job. So congratulations. So.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, what a show, huh?
What's a show, old
We covered a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I address the audience for 1 second, April, while we're all here together, live on the air and maybe listening on podcast? I just want to say I am super, super grateful for all of you who tune in to these lives and who listen to the podcast and watch our content. I know that there's a lot of content out there, and you could be watching anyone else's show, which I'm sure you do at different times throughout the day. But I really appreciate you tuning in, and April and I are really committed to the show and to making this work and to helping you feel not alone, but also you guys make us feel not alone too. So it's very much reciprocal, because there are times when April and I talk and we're like, man, it is just like a tough time to be a human, and we're wrestling through what we're seeing in the news, and honestly going on the air and talking to you all, be able to kind of vent and get our thoughts out. It's cathartic for both of us. And so I just want to say a sincere thank you to all of you who are here for all the super chats, for all the support. It really means the world. And we want to do our best to make this as quality and as fun as possible for you, to kind of help you navigate what are some really difficult and tough times. So I just appreciate you guys being here with us. It's great.
I would like to co-sign that as well. These are scary unprecedented times that we're living in. And I do think community is very important, even if it's through a screen and it's just a chat and we're all just hanging out, you know, being sad or laughing about a cringy Christian smut article like last week.
Yes, which we need. Yeah, we need those moments. Michelle, thank you for the super chat. She says, they make Satan out to be more powerful than God in the love of Jesus. And yes, they do even worse case scary movies. Left Behind and Thief in the Night. Yes, absolutely true. And thanks, Kyle, for your super chat as well. You have both very similar upbringings as me, so I appreciate your honesty and necessary disdain around the topic. Absolutely. We are really here doing our best to help you understand Christian nationalism and find a better path forward in faith, politics, and culture. So we love this work. And we're also thinking about just more stuff that we can do that's a little more fun. Maybe we can watch Pamela's Prayer live together sometime. I don't know. But we do have to create a TNA After Dark at some point, April. It has to happen. So
we should just have an annual homage to that Gospel Coalition article, or once a year we just read it again.
Just bust it out and read it. Awesome. Well, again, friends, thanks for being here. We have new merch. The link is in the description. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to catch this after the fact, maybe you have to leave early, you can catch the whole stream on podcast along with our other deep dives on Mondays and Fridays. I'm Tim Whitaker.
And I'm April LaJoy.
See ya.